Our lesson is scope and delimitation or limitation. Scope describes the study's coverage and explains what information or subject is being analyzed. Explains the concept, subjects, population, and the timeline of the conduct of the study. Explains the extent to which the research area will be explored. Scope and delimitation or scope and limitation. So we are going to explain why there is delimitation and limitation. Delimitation addresses how a study will be narrowed in scope. That is how it is bounded. For limitation, they are the shortcomings, conditions, or influences that cannot be controlled by the researcher that place restrictions on your methodology and conclusions. Another for delimitation refers to factors you set to limit your analysis. It delimits those that are included in your research and those that are excluded. Remember, the limitations are within your control. Limitations are factors beyond your control that may affect your research result. You can think of limitations as the weaknesses of your study. For example, due to some constraints, you've only decided to examine one plant type, which is dandelions. This is an example of delimitation, since it limits your analysis to dandelions only and not other plant types. Note that the number of plant types used is within your control. Your study cannot state that a higher quantity of organic fertilizer is the sole reason for plant growth. That's because your research focus is only on correlation. Since this is already beyond your control, then this is a limitation. So how to write scope and delimitation? Review your study's objective and problem statement. Always remember and be familiar with your research objectives or problem of your research. Your study's coverage relies on the objectives. Thus, you can only write this section if you're familiar with it. Furthermore, ensure that you understand the problem you owe to answer. The second, always state the key information to explain your study's coverage and boundaries. These are the main objective of the research, independent and dependent variables, subject of the study, time frame and location of the study, brief description of the study's research design methodology. Okay, for number one, information, the main objective of the research. This refers to the concept that you're focusing on your research. It's helpful to consult your study's objective or statement of the problem section to determine your research main goal. Example, the life experience of several individuals. The next information is about the independent variable included. Independent variable is the variable that you manipulate. Dependent variable is the variable whose result depends upon the independent variable. Both of these variables must be clear and specific when indicated. The example is the relationship between social media usage and students' language skills. These are the possible variables for the study. Independent variable, number of hours per day spent on using Facebook. Dependent variable is grade 10 students' score in quarterly examination in English. Note how specific the variables stated above are. For the independent variable, we narrow it down to Facebook only. Since there are many ways to assess language skill, we zero in on the student's English exam scores as our dependent variable. The next information is the subject of the study. This refers to your study's respondents or participants in our previous example. The research participants are grade 10 students. However, there are a lot of grade 10 students in the Philippines. Thus, we have to select from a certain school only. For instance, grade 10 students from Mariano Marcos Memorial High School, Manila. Time frame. The next is the information about time frame and location of the study. Specify the months. For example, it will start on May 20 to June 30, or quarters by first quarter, second quarter, or years 2023 to 2024 as the duration of your study. Also indicate where you will gather the data required for your research. The next information is about brief description of the study's research design and methodology. You may also include whether your research is quantitative or qualitative. The sampling method, for example, is it cluster, stratified, purposive, applied, and how you conducted the experiments. Using our previous example, the grade 10 students can be selected using stratified sampling. Afterward, the researcher may obtain their English quarterly exam scores from their respective teachers. Another basic steps in writing the scope of this study were emphasized by Henson and Soriano 2016 as follows. Focus, subject matter coverage, title. Locus, the place or location of the study. Modus, mode or manner of data gathering. Example of the scope and delimitation. The main objective of these research is the live experiences of the nurses specialized in the intensive care unit of the hospital. So that's the concept or the statement of the objective. This study will be conducted at ZD Hospital, Zamboanga City. So that's the location. The study will be delimited to 7 nurses specialized in the intensive care unit. So that's the subject of the study. The participant will be coded as participant A, participant B, participant C, participant D, participant E, participant F, and participant G for 2020-2021. So those are the names or representative for as a respondent and the time frame from 2020 to 2021. The gathering of the data will be done through an interview. So the method of the gathering of data. Furthermore, this study is premised on the intensive care unit nurses' issues and challenges that will be completed towards the end of 2021. Of 2021. So that is the time frame again. So the focus is about the live experience of nurses specialized in the intensive care unit of the hospital. The locus is or the locale is the ZD Hospital in Zamboanga City. The modus or the mode, nurses specialized in the intensive care unit of the hospital will be interviewed. Another example is research title, Live Experiences of Public Utility Vehicle Drivers of Antipolo City amidst the continuous June 2022 oil price hikes. Scope and delimitation. This research focused on the presentation and discussion of the live experience of PUV drivers during the constant of oil price hike in June 2022. So that's the concept or the statement of the problem. The respondents involved are 5 jeepney drivers from Antipolo City who agreed to be interviewed. The researchers, those are the respondents. The researchers assess their experiences in terms of the following. daily net income, duration and extent of working, alternative employment opportunity, considerations, and mental and emotional status. The respondents were interviewed daily at their respective stations on June 6 to 10, 2022. So that's the time frame. In-depth one-on-one interview, the method, were used for data collection. Afterwards, the respondents' first-hand experience were drafted and annotated with the researchers' insights. The researchers excluded some factors in determining the respondents' experience, such as physical and health conditions and currently family relationship studies. So since there are things that are controlled by the researcher, so this is the scope and delimitation example for qualitative research. Another way of the scope and limitation of this study is section discusses the parameter of the research in paragraph form. It answered the basic questions of what, the topic of investigation, and the variable included, and justification by having personal variables like age, sex, um, family income, categories, factor indicators, and where, the local of the setting of the research, when, the duration by which a study will be conducted, why, the general objective of the research, state the general objective of the study. Example is the main focus of the study is to determine the who, the respondent of the study, the population in sampling, how, the methodology of the research, which may include the research design, methodology, and the research instrument. It may also discuss why certain variables were not included in the research. Thank you.